Hello everyone, SM Collectibles here with another video, and in the video today it's going to be another stamp related video, and I'm going to be going over some kind of beginner terms because a previous video I did about watermarks, how to find a watermark, did quite well, and I feel like this is a useful, hopefully it'll be a useful tool for people new to the hobby, who want to get into the hobby, or who've just started, to know a few of the keywords that they might hear going around, because there's some kind of technical terms that you might be a bit confused about to start with. So I thought I'd go through some of those in this video. So starting off, we've got philately and philatelist. Now, they're pretty simple to describe. Philately is basically just a technical name for stamp collecting, and a philatelist is the stamp collector, the person who studies or specializes in philately, so they're a stamp collector. They're two kind of broad terms. You might hear them a lot. I'd never heard them used before I started stamp collecting, but once you're in it, you might hear them around every now and then, and that's what it means. Another thing, so you might hear about a catalog number or an SG number, or you might see, like on here, it says SG129, then some details. You might wonder what that means. So that's simply just Stanley Gibbons, which is a massive kind of stamp authority, and they have been for a long time. They've been around for a long time, and it's a universally, internationally recognized identifier, basically. So that's, say, SG129 blue 1872 to 1880. That's a specific thing. It will show exactly what that stamp is. It's just a way of identifying it. SG being short for Stanley Gibbons. Not everyone will use these, but it's just a way of identifying things that's kind of universally recognized. And in turn, you can look in a Stanley Gibbons catalogue, see which one it is, see what value they've got in there. It won't necessarily be that value, but you can see what it is in there. So looking more at the stamps in particular, there's, well, a simple way of kind of splitting up two types of stamps. You've got commemorative stamps, which I'll put some examples of on the screen, and these were used to mark a special occasion or they're for a special event. For example, like I've mentioned before, they follow different themes. They might do like a commemorative superhero set, or a band, like a band's anniversary, something like that. Or it might be for a big event, like the I don't know, coronation, something like that. And then a definitive is just an ordinary issue stamp. So in the UK, you might hear them referred to as machins, which is just the name of the person who did that design. And they're just regular everyday stamps. I think I've got some in here if I just have a look. Like these here, they're just everyday regular stamps, the usual ones used in everyday postage. Now, if you're looking at a stamp more specifically, there's a few different, well, there's different ways to describe its condition. So a common way, you might hear fine, very fine, extremely fine, mint, mint unhinged, etc. There's a few different ways, and that all just refers to a few factors on the condition of the stamp. For example, are the margins even? Does it even have the margins, which is the outer part of the stamp? Does it have margins? Is how the perforations, etc., things like that, which I'll come on to a bit later. But that just describes the condition of the stamp, and it's best, if you're interested in a specific stamp, wondering what the condition is, to look up those terms to see which one best fits it. These terms are commonly used in collectibles like comics, etc., other things, fine, very fine, mint, etc. And it's just to say what the condition's like on the stamp. Now, a few other things. I've mentioned before at the start of the video, my watermark video, where stamps have watermarks, or they especially used to, which was just a distinctive emblem to prove it was authentic and to show it's a real legit stamp, and that's part of it. It's part of it. It's between the kind of material in the stamp. And if you want to look at the video I did before of how to identify those, how to find them, you can. And another thing, they can also be inverted. So you might sometimes see inverted watermark, which basically means it's upside down. And another term is block. I've got some examples of them here. This is a block of stamps. This is a block of stamps. It's basically any one that's 4 or more stamps which are unseparated. So that one there is separated. These ones, it's a block of stamps. They together, they've not been kind of cut or split up. And these are good examples as well of surcharge. So as you see on here, it's got it crossed there where it says 6 cents. That's been crossed out and it's been stamped with 3 cents. I believe this was during the war and they changed the value of it. Well, it was during the war, there you go, 1941. They changed the value of the stamps to make them cheaper to post things. This is Ceylon, which was at the time, of course, involved in the British Empire, part of the British Empire. And yeah, so 3 cents, they've changed it from 6 to 3. That's a surcharge. They've stamped that on to show the value's changed. Also, you can get cancellations to say a stamp's been sent, it's been used. You see this nowadays as well. They might scribble over it or put a stamp over it. It's just to show the stamp's been used, its value's kind of gone, it can't be used again, because that's not how stamps work. You can't just keep using them over and over again. Now, there's also overprints. So it's overprints and surcharges. Surcharges often it change the stamp's value. An overprint might say this change in value, but it also might say something about the time that the stamp's kind of been around, like this one, war stamp. So it was issued in the war. It says it there, 1918, the end of the First World War, war stamp. That's an overprint on that. The ones before that wouldn't have that overprint. You also might hear, if I move this along, margins. So for example, this one's a war stamp overprint and it's got a margin. So you can see there where it's been cut from the sheet, but they've left the margin of the sheet on there. And these are the perforations, I mentioned them earlier, around. So you can see where it's been cut from the sheet. You see that's unperforated because it's still got it, but that's the perforations. And the number of perforations, the condition of them, all come into the factors that play on the value, the rarity, etc. of the stamp. I think my dog was snoring then, so he might have been caught in the video there. But that's a lot of things about that. And what is this book I've got here? It's a stock book. It's where you just put the stamps in these kind of bits. Here, there's little plastic pockets. You put them in there. You can also have a more traditional stamp book where you use hinges, and a hinge is like it's a small strip of it, like an adhesive, which you stick into the book, which was at least a more common way of preserving stamps. So a lot of stamps, if I say look at one of these, I don't have my, wait a minute, let me get this. So for example, on this stamp here, you can see this top bit, excuse the shadow, you can see the top bit where it's been hinged, it's been put into a stamp, and that will affect the condition. So it could be mounted, unmounted, etc. That basically means it's been hinged, it's been put in a book. And a lot of old stamps will have that because a lot of stamp collectors did that, and a lot of still do. Some will use a stock book like this, which I personally use, others will hinge them. And that's the main things. If there's any questions, if you have any questions about terms you've heard, you don't know, or anything I've said in the video, please feel free to leave a comment and ask me. I don't know everything, but I can try my best to find out and help where I can. And hopefully this has been useful for some people. One more thing I will cover at the end here is FDC, or a first day cover. So this is an example of a first day cover. It's something that was used on the first day. It's an envelope or kind of piece of paper that was used on the first day of a stamp's release. So as you can see here, it says first day issue, House of Edinburgh. That's not my address. There's the stamps on there, and it's got all of them together on there. And that's a first day cover. It was issued on the first day. There's a stamp there. So that's basically what a first day cover is. There's also these which are called presentation packs. So they've got all the stamps in there. For example, this is the Christmas 1994 Nativity. They've got all the stamps in there. There's a maps one, and they've usually got a bit of information inside about them, where they're from, what they were made for, a bit of history about these. For example, that's the origin of the Ordnance Survey maps, I believe. So that's the main thing. As I say, hopefully I've covered everything in this video, or covered the basics at least. And if you've got any questions, leave them down below. I also wanted to say thank you very much for 200 subscribers. I couldn't believe that, honestly. I couldn't even believe getting to 100, let alone 200. But thank you all for the continued support and views on the channel. If this video has been useful, please leave a like, share it with people, and let me know if you learned something new or anything else you want to contribute to the video. Just let me know in the comments. And as usual, subscribe if you're not already. And thank you very much for watching. See you later.